Welcome to the 24th United States National Memory Competition. We're at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, and we have 9 mental athletes that are ready to come up on stage and demonstrate to you their passion for learning how they can improve their memory, the skills that they've learned, and the demonstration of those skills through a competition. I'm often asked by people, how did you ever get to start a United States National Memory Competition? And at the time that I started this, I had just left my job at IBM. And then while I was at IBM, we were trying to figure out how do we reinstill creativity into our workforce. And my boss at the time was the chief financial officer, found a seminar that was being given in New York City that talked about if you want to improve the creativity of a workforce, you need to improve their ability to obtain information, store that information, recall that information, and connect it to new information that they were getting, the subject of memory. And so I actually started in 1995 learning more and more about memory and started reading papers about what we were learning about Alzheimer's and cognitive impairment and different mental challenges that people were finding as we got older. And so I started a memory championship as a way of demonstrating to people in our country that there were things that you could learn if you believed that you could improve your memory. And how many people I've met over the years that believe that I was either born with a good memory or I missed those genes, when in actuality, anyone at any age could improve it, hence the creation of the Memory Championship. And I'm often asked by TV people in media, are the people that compete in your Memory Championship, are they nerds? Or are they some kind of weirdos that just sit and study books all day long? And what the championship has proven over the 24 years is that any person at any age, and we start at 12, and we've had somebody at 72 compete, anyone can learn if they first believe that they can improve their memory. Second of all, they're willing to learn what the skills are, and we've got many of our champions of the past that have actually gone out and are teaching people how to improve memory. And then are you willing to practice? And then are you brave enough to come on a stage and demonstrate to the country that you too can improve your memory? And I've often said on TV interviews and newspaper interviews that I could get people to come up on stage and strip naked faster than I can get them to come up and demonstrate their mental capacities. And so from that, we are here for our 24th event, Full Sail University. We were here yesterday watching the students and the directors of the program here do an amazing amount of work and just getting ready for today, getting here early this morning and making sure all of the logistics are correct and ready to go. And I can't say how amazed I am at just observing the commitment and the work that the students have done, just watching them and sitting on the sides and how they organize this and how they put this broadcast out so we can get this out to more and more people can see exactly what's going on. I also have to thank Lumosity, or Lumos Labs. They've been one of our host sponsors for the last several years. And without Lumosity, with COVID coming as it did, we would not be able to do what we call our qualifying events. So back this year, we had over 100 people register to compete in what we call qualifying events. And thanks to Lumosity and Memory League, we were able to do those virtually. So we had, back in July, people competing on a virtual broadcast that were able to qualify for who would be the finalists that would come to Winter Park, Florida at Full Sail and compete to see who has the best memory in the United States. And so we have people that are getting ready to go through their first event, which we called an event put out by Lumosity that allows us to then bring them to stage and decide where they want to sit. And that's an interesting story in itself because I've often thought that the person who scores the best would want to sit in the first seat. And from what I've learned over the years in talking to the mental athletes, it doesn't always work that way. Scoring first does not mean I want to sit in the first seat. And so there are strategies that I've learned over the years from the people who compete in this that are amazing. I also want to thank MIT, who has been a major help to us in terms of learning the neuroscience and how we continue to learn how to develop and grow and how our brains are working, and the research that they provide to us that allows us to stay on the cutting edge of what do we need to be able to take from the science world and bring it to people that's pragmatic and simple enough so that anybody that looks at it can figure out what they may want to do with it. Seth Gourson is here from Lumosity, and he is in the, I call it in our mental athletes room, and he's getting them ready to put what we call our seating. They'll play a game, and I'm going to turn that over to Nelson Dellis, who is also with us here, and I'm just thrilled to have Nelson, who's our 5-time national champion. Nelson decided after 5, as he put up on one hand, it was time for him to retire from the competition. And so Nelson's with us here today, and he's going to be talking to people about what the events are that they're now going through, so that when they're finished with that event, we'll bring them back up on stage, and they'll be able to demonstrate to you what they're able to do in the events that we'll have. We'll have 4 events during the course of the day. Our first event will be what we call long-term memory. Our long-term memory event actually came from the time we went up to MIT and actually held a competition there. And we had the Dean of Science say, I want to be able to demonstrate to our audience that the skills and the events that you have are not just for short-term memory, but they also impact long-term. So when we ran the event at MIT in their school before we had the COVID outbreaks, they were very, very active in wanting us to put long-term memory in this. So that's going to be our first event of the day. And we'll talk more about that later. Our second event then will be what we call our words to remember. They'll be given 15 minutes to remember as many of 300 words as they possibly can. And each event is going to be in a head-to-head as we go through each of the rounds as we go forward. Then our third event will be our Tea Party event. And this is one of the most fascinating events. As we've done this with live audiences, people always come up and ask, how are they doing that? Meaning, how do they remember a name and possibly a phone number or an address? And so that'll be our third event of the day. And then we will wrap up the day with what we call our double deck or bus. 2 decks of cards with 3 people competing on stage for who can remember the order of 104 cards in the 2 decks that we'll be giving them within 5 minutes. And so that's the agenda that we have for the day. And if I may right now, I will turn this over to Nelson Dellis, our 5-time memory champion, and he will begin explaining to our audience what our first event of the day is. Nelson, are you ready to take it over?
Yes, thank you, Tony. I'm Nelson Dellis. I'm here with my co-host, Seth Gourson. He is representing from Lumosity. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. It's always inspiring. And before we jump in, I just need to ask, because Tony said something back there. He used the word retired.
Oh.
Is that a fair way of describing your current status as a memory competitor?
Current status, yes. Future status, TBD.
So not a permanent status.
No. I don't know. We'll see. That's not the topic of today.
No, not at all. So today's competition is starting with a Lumosity game. So Lumosity in general is an online brain training platform with a library of over 50 games that provide different ways to train your brain in different areas, whether that be memory, which of course we're doing today, attention, problem solving, flexibility. And so you can see some of the competitors now working on maximizing their scores on a game called Pinball Recall. And Pinball Recall is a working memory game, more specifically relating to spatial working memory. So you could imagine, well, Nelson, you're a mountain climber. You've spent a lot of time in tents. You know how brutal it can be to extend yourself outside of the sleeping bag when it's cold out there. Yes. And so you may want to have a good memory for where all of your belongings are in relation to where you are in that place in the tent. That's kind of what spatial memory is all about. It's remembering where things are in a particular arrangement. And so in this case, the players are presented with a series of bumpers just like this. You can see the 2 in the top left and the bottom left. And they need to remember what their orientation is as well as their location. And as you'll see in a moment, when they're actually playing the game, those bumpers will disappear. And then they have to remember their location. So you've competed on this game before. You know it very well. What kind of strategies do you bring into this game when you're playing?
Yeah, it's and the footage you saw there was a demo I did last year. I think there will be more coming up that has a more elaborate board. But it starts off with maybe 1 or 2 bumpers, and you just have to kind of remember where they are and imagine if the ball hit it, where it would end up on the board. Then you introduce other bumpers at different angles. Like you can see here, this is a lot more complex. You know, even some of the bumpers that are shown to you don't get touched, so you still have to remember them because you don't know where the ball is going to start from, and you have to figure out where it ends. In terms of strategy, it's quite tricky because as the levels get higher, the boards get larger and more potential bumpers. So what I would do in a case like this is really try to visualize little pockets or clusters of bumpers as little images. So you saw there was kind of like this little triplet in the corner. I have an image for that. Sometimes if there's like two angled ones, it looks like somebody frowning, like angry eyebrows. I might try to picture that as one thing. Sometimes you get like a little box without one side. So I really try to make these little images and remember roughly where they are. On top of that, I try to use kind of like a, I try not to avert my eyes too much after I see it and see if I can remember what was burned into my eyes. You know, it's a kind of a combo of those.
Got it. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, unlike the other rounds of competition that everyone will see today, there's very limited time to actually encode the information here. So the strategies you're talking about make a lot of sense from a psychological or cognitive perspective. That chunking, that clustering you're talking about is actually minimizing the pieces of information you need to store rather than storing 13 bumper locations. Now you're just focused on storing a couple of patterns. And presumably the more you play, certain patterns start to become recognizable, like you said, the faces.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
so that makes a lot of sense.
One of the other things that's not, you touched on this, if I had more time, or if in general these competitors had more time to look at the board, we could encode it. I think that's what makes this so different from some of the other events today, is that it really has to be quick. It's really just kind of using your intuitive memory to do the best you can. And I think a lot comes from practice, surprisingly. You think like, well, I'm not going to get any better if I don't really apply a technique, but actually doing it over and over again, you get a better sense of some of the patterns you see. You get a better sense of kind of like where the ball will go when it hits things, and kind of what bumpers are next to each other. But it really is one of these tasks, I think, that you get better with practice.
Yeah, and Lumosity games are very much so kind of designed with that concept in mind. Of course, there's always some strategies that you can layer in, but the real goal of a game like this is to isolate and target this particular cognitive area, so that, you know, some scientists will talk about pure cognition, where we're really just taxing this particular function in the brain as opposed to leaving it up to strategy. And so that limited time window makes it that way. So it's a little bit more akin to being in really good physical fitness, where you simply repeat doing a certain exercise and that makes you better, as opposed to like learning strategy in a particular game or sport. And so, yeah, obviously there's some strategies that come in, and that concept that you mentioned of having to also then imagine which way the ball is going to bounce is really sort of that working memory component. So it's not only encoded in your short term, but now you're manipulating or reasoning with that information, which adds another layer.
Yep. I think they wrapped up, and what's going to happen now is they've each done their best attempt. They will have a high score out of all the competitors. We will figure out who ranked in the top, and they're going to be able to choose their seating for the first event, what seat they get to sit in, which turns out to be quite important in terms of strategy and you know, the information that you're going to be expected to recall in the next event. So I think we're going to go back to the stage. Everybody's going to choose their seat. We're going to sit down and meet each of the competitors before we dive into the next event. Tony?
Okay, we are ready to have our mental athletes come up on stage and decide where they would like to sit. And so we're going to start with our first person coming up is going to be Cameron with 20,120 points, which is amazing in terms of what he's done. So Cameron, come on up. Cameron, come on up and you get to pick your seat. And then if you would not mind picking up the mic and tell us, why did you elect to be in the USA Memory Championship today?
Why did I choose to be in the Memory Championship? Probably Nelson Dellis' YouTube videos, to be honest. So I saw some of those and I figured I'd try it.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, Jason, 17,890 points. Come on up, Jason, and take your seat and tell us what got you to come here to Full Sail University to compete in the Memory Championship.
Obviously to win, but also to just show my memory skills.
Thank you. James at 11,110 points. James, can you come on up? Now this is interesting, watching this go back in reverse order. James, why are you here?
So when I first got started in memory, I was doing things that were similar, like Rubik's Cubes blindfolded, chess blindfolded, found my way into more events like this, and then I can't leave. I'm just too into it.
Thank you very much. Our fourth person here is Erdem with 10,710 points. Boy, is this working totally backwards to what I thought. But in any case, why did you elect to be here today?
I'm here today because I've wanted to try the memory competition ever since I read Joshua Foer's book, and this year I'm finally old enough to participate.
Wow, Joshua Foer was one of our prior champions who wrote the book Moonwalking with Einstein, which has become one of the most popular ones. All right, we're ready for John at 9,900. Boy, is this not working the way I thought it would work. Okay. John, you've been a prior champion. What are you doing here today?
Yeah, I read Moonwalking with Einstein as well in 2014, and I've won it twice, so figured try to win it 3 times.
You're going to chase down Nelson, aren't you? All right. All right, one at a time. Ian, I think that's correct. Ian, 9,590 points.
I've been doing memory for a couple of years, so I just kind of wanted to try the competition.
Welcome. It's good to have you here. We have Matt at 7,150. So Matt, we only got down to a few seats left. And you are here for your reason for being with us.
Not sure exactly. It's very difficult and stressful.
But welcome. It's good to have you with us, Matt. And we have Samay at 6,540. And if you can tell us what brought you here today.
I'm here. This is my 3rd year, and I'm here to, I guess, try to win, or hopefully do better than the last 2 years.
All right. And last is Emily. Oh, God, I'm missing the L. Emily at 6,530 points. I think there's only one spot left for Emily to go. Emily, welcome. And your reason for being here?
To meet my fellow competitors and just have fun.
And so Emily was telling me this has been challenging for her, especially with long-term, as she's been going through college. And I'm saying, well, God, don't you just go sit in the class for a few days and just get an A for walking out? And she said, not quite. So it's a little bit different. Welcome, congratulations. As I say to the people that are on this stage, from my perspective, you are already a winner in the game of life. Congratulations. And if we may, right now, I think you've asked for a 10-minute break, and so if we give you a chance to get up and stretch and take your 10 minutes, we've already put you through your first drill of memory exercises, so we'll give you a 10-minute break, and all you need to do now is to remember what? Where were you sitting? So if you can remember to do that, you've got 10 minutes, and we'll pick it up with long-term memory, which will be our first event of the day.
Jason Smith, West Virginia.
And this is your what championship competition?
Second in the finals, 3rd total.
How did you place last year?
6th. I hope to move better than 6th place. Yeah, practice the tea party, long-term memory, and we'll go from there. Feeling good.
My name is James Cumming. I'm from New York.
How many years have you competing?
Competing in memory, 3. I've been doing it for about 3, like 3.5.
And how do you feel about today?
I'm really excited. Worked a lot at it. I feel really good.
What have you been working on?
The most, cards. Last year, didn't do so hot in cards. Changed how I do it. Now I use a 2-card system.
and been working on that a lot, and I'm a lot faster now. So not only can I get through it faster, I have more time to go back, which will help a lot.
I'm Samay. I'm from Lexington, Massachusetts. I've competed 3 times in the past. I've competed in the virtual, and I was at the finals for the past 2 years. I didn't do too well. I got out first both times. The nerves got to me. My goal would be to make it to Tea Party and get out somewhere late there. This year, I feel like my memorization techniques for the long-term memory were a lot more efficient, and I'll use a lot less brute force. Like just, I didn't just try to soak in it as much as I can. I use more techniques.
I'm Ian, and I'm from New York City.
And this is your first competition?
Yeah. I think my best event was, it was either the images or it was the Lumosity events. I'm really nervous because I'm pretty sure they switched the long-term memory to the first one, and I'm really bad at that one. So.
Matthew Wilson, I'm from Richmond, Virginia these days. This is my 5th time as a finalist. I went to the Canadian Championship once. Never won the championship though, in the US. Best I got 4th last year. Got eliminated at the very end of the Tea Party. Well, I hope to win, but I'm not terribly optimistic right now. It's a lot of work with the long-term recall, and that drains energy and time from the other events, so it's hard to be at the top of my game and everything at the same time.
John Graham from Kalamazoo, Michigan. 2-time U.S. memory champion. 2018 I won in Boston, and then last year, 2022, I won here.
Awesome. How are you feeling today about the competition?
Yeah, same. I like experienced, ready, calmer than normal. You know, this is tough, but the experience helps for sure. You know that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good luck today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm Emily. I'm from New York. This is actually my 2nd time here, and I'm still kind of nervous.
What are your hopes for today?
I don't have high hopes because I just realized it's actually long-term memory first. Yeah.
Did you not prepare?
Not that much. Yeah, because it's like I'm a freshman in college, so I was getting used to like all the college scheduling and orientation, so I was like really busy.
Cameron Russell, I'm from Michigan.
This is your first competition?
Yes.
Nice. How are you feeling today?
Feel all right. Not too nervous, hopefully.
Good. Did you prepare a lot? Are you feeling hopeful for today?
I prepared a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
What's going to be your best event? What are you most excited for?
The pinball, probably.
Okay, got it. Cool. Well, good luck today.
Thank you.
My name is Erdem, spelled E-R-D-E-M, and I'm from Washington, D.C.
And how old are you?
I just turned 14.
Awesome. And is this your first competition?
Yes, this is my first time competing in the USA Memory Championship. I first learned about it from Joshua Forrest's book, and I've been wanting to compete, and I'm finally old enough to compete this year.
Yeah, well, the limit's you have to be 13, right?
Yes.
How excited are you to be here?
I'm very excited, and I'm also kind of nervous. I'm just gonna do the best I can. I don't really have that high of an expectation.
That's good. All right, well, good luck today.
Thank you.
Okay, we are ready to start with our next event of the day. We call that It's Been a Long Time. And this was an event that, as I said earlier, came from work we were doing with MIT, where they wanted to have the mental athletes demonstrate not only their ability for short-term memory, but to demonstrate their ability for long-term. So the first time we did this event, we had over 3,500 pieces of information that we gave them and 30 days to study it. And unfortunately, that was done in the summertime. As we got into school systems and school times, we got to the point where we moved it to September. And the first time we did this long-term event, we kind of killed some of the college students in trying to do their college work and put that in. So we cut it down to about 2,500 data pieces. This year, we're down to about 2,000. And Karen Pinson and Patricia Pinson are the two people that have put these events together, have given them 30 days to study it, and now we're going to find out how good their long-term memory is working. So Karen, do you want to make any comments at this point?
Good luck, athletes. I know you're going to do well. Tried to keep it as simple as we could, but when you get to round 4, she did it.
She did it, being Patricia Pinson. And if everybody looks at the clock, you have 15 seconds to give your answer. So when that 15 seconds goes off, if you're not done with your answer, then you will get your first strike. We have Tina Dottino that will be keeping score, so you can see the names that are up on the board. And she started with Emily first, and you'll get 3 X's before you're eliminated. Now again, based on the request of some of the mental athletes, they wanted to do this event first because they've taken the time over the last month to study, and we were doing this second or third, and they're saying, wait a minute, we put all that time into the second or third time, and we may not have been in the event anymore, so we now made this our first event of elimination. So what we'll have here is they'll go through the long-term memory questions, we'll get an answer, and when they miss, there'll be an X against their elimination. Karen, you've also got the names of the responses there as well, so you'll help me.
Yes, I do, Tony.
Okay, so
and
we're
remember,
gonna give-
Tony, as we go through each round, each athlete will get a new question. So if someone gets the question incorrect, Tony, you will give the answer, and the next athlete will get a new question, same category, same level.
So that's an important change we've made. You'll get the same category. So all of you will go through the first category, which will be senators. And so you'll start with senators, and then we'll go to the next round, and we'll go to military honorary medal awards, and then we'll go to music. So if any of you are musically inclined, that's the sequence that we'll go through all level 1 for the first round of it. Okay, and with that, I think we're ready to go. We're going to start with Emily. And Emily, our first question for the day. U.S. Senators. Name a Democratic senator from Michigan. It's over to you, Emily. A Democratic senator from Michigan. Emily, you have 5 seconds left. You did not study U.S. senators from Michigan. We have our first X of the day, and the answer to that is either Debbie Stabenow or Gary Peters. We'll move over to our next mental athlete. Richard Blumenthal serves as a U.S. senator. From what state and party is he affiliated with?
Connecticut Democrat.
We're good. We need to reset our 15 seconds. All right, we're good. Our next question. Who is the independent senator from Vermont?
Bernie Sanders.
And we are off and going. We've got 3 of them. What state and party does Steve Daines serve?
Montana Democrat.
No, you got the wrong party affiliation. He is from Montana, but he's a Republican, so you get an X on that one. Is that your first X? John, it's over to you. Name a Republican senator from Kentucky.
Rand Paul.
That'll do it. We'll move over to our next row of mental athletes, and the question is, what state and party affiliation is Tina Smith?
Minnesota Democrat.
Excellent work. Well done. John Boozman is from what state and political party?
John Boozman is an Arkansas Republican.
I hope our audience knows a lot of these, especially as we go through elections. Bill Hagerty is the senator from what political party and state?
Tennessee Republican.
Doing great. Who is the Republican senator from Alabama?
Tommy Tuberville.
Okay, and Katie Burton's also there. All right, we got our first round. Everybody, please. Congratulations on to our first round. Now we're going to go to Medal of Honor winners. So we're back over to Emily, and off we go. What was the name of the Navy ensign? Emily, it's over to you. All right, you're going to pick up your second strike. Frank Upton. What rank and branch of the service was Benjamin Kaufman?
Army First Lieutenant.
Oh, we got a sergeant. It was our sergeant. Who served as an Army major?
Joseph H. Thompson.
All right, good work. Nicely done. Who was a second lieutenant for the Air Service? Going to be your first X? Gary Foster was what branch of service and rank?
Army sergeant.
All right. What's the branch of service and rank for Jesse Covington?
Army Sergeant.
It was in the Navy as a ship, 3rd class. Who served as a Marine Corporate Sergeant?
I don't know. Pass.
All right, that's Louis Ukela and Majik Kochak. What rank and branch of service was James Hurriot?
Army Corporal.
Excellent, great work. It's over to Cameron. Frank Gaffney was what rank and branch of service?
Army Sergeant.
Oh, it was private first class. So we've gone through our first 2 rounds, so I can't read the board there. Tina, you want to yell out where we're at? We got
Tony, unfortunately, we have eliminated Emily and Ian.
Oh, okay, so Emily and Ian are gone. Now, by request of the mental athletes, they asked if we could continue to go through some of these additional rounds. So let's see how we do as we go through this. We're going to go to music, Song of the Year. Let's see who some of your music experts are. Emily, we can still go back to you. What year did Bridge Over Troubled Water win? Emily was studying a lot for college. I expect all straight A's with Emily.
1974.
You're in the right decade. Next question. When did Moon River win the Song of the Year?
Nineteen 62.
You nailed it. Great work. What was the 1999 Song of the Year?
My Heart Will Go On.
Wow, all right. Thinking out loud, what was the Song of the Year for what year? Thinking out loud.
I'll just guess 2000.
2016. What song won in 2010? John?
Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It.
Wow. We'll do one round at level 4 and we're done. Song of the Year, last one. Emily, what were the songs that tied for Song of the Year in 1978 and who were the artists? This was the Song of the Year for 1978 and who were the people that sang it? Emily, I thought you were on a hot streak with songs. It was Evergreen, a theme from Star Was Born by Barbra Streisand and You Light Up My Light by Debbie Boone. Performed by Bette Midler, who won the Song of the Year twice. What year and title?
1991, From a Distance, and 1990, Wind Beneath My Wings.
I missed that second part.
He crossed his
When-
years.
All right. Songwriters Mancini and Mercer won 2 years for Song of the Year. What year and song title?
Moon River, 1962, and
Days of Wine and Roses in 1964. As a performer, Eric Clapton won Performer of the Year twice. What were the titles and who were the respective songwriters? We don't know. Okay, we're going. Tears in Heaven by Clapton and Jennings and Change the World by Kennedy and Kirkpatrick. John, it's back to you. Beautiful Day.
That's the answer.
Clayton and Evans were the... Okay, John, see how good you can remember the answer. Clayton and Evans were the songwriters. I can do that. Roberta Flack was the performer of 2 Songs of the Year. What years did she win and who wrote them?
She won in 73, 74. In 73, she won for The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. And then 74, she won for Killing Me Softly with his song. Oh, I got it wrong because I read it wrong. Yeah.
All right. We're good. We'll just keep going. We're good. Has Adele won 2 Songs of the Year. What were the titles and who were the songwriters?
Adele won in 2012 and 2017. 2012 winner was Rolling in the Deep. That song was written by Atkins and Epworth. The other one was Hello, written by Atkins and Gourson.
We're going to stop right there. It was a fantastic job that you guys remember. Again, this was our long-term memory. Karen, you'll help me then. We have 2 people that have been eliminated, and we have to now do the reseeding. So if you'll help me with that. Let me do a 15-minute break here at this point. All right, now, Nelson would like to see the 2 people that were eliminated. So Nelson would like to take you into his green room and talk with you in the green room.
All right, Emily, how did that go?
Not good. Not good at all.
It seemed like you had the music stuff pretty well rehearsed, but maybe not so much the senators.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened? I mean, is it, why did you focus just on that, or you took your chance, or what?
Well, I did focus a lot more on the music part, and then the senators, I gave it a shot, but it wasn't good, and then I just didn't try at all with the World War I.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, we didn't even get to those. But yeah, it sounds like you're already busy studying in school other things that actually are meaningful for your classes, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. To add another thousands of digits or pieces of information is probably a lot of work, right, for you?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you for coming. I'm sorry that you got out so early, but there's always next year.
Yes,
right?
there is.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm going to talk to Ian and see what he thought.
Okay.
If you want to come over, Ian. How's it going, Ian?
It's good.
How did it go for you? What was your studying strategy for the information?
I didn't really have that good of a strategy to remember them. I was definitely strongest in the senators, but
got it. Okay.
I definitely messed up the first one. I don't think I would have still gotten in, regardless, even if I got the first one right. But I would have at least survived, until round 2, level 1 for the medalist.
Got it. So you looked at each of the 3 disciplines, right? The 3 different categories?
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if that was made clear. We had senator information, so their name, I think their party, where they were from, right? And then also you had Medal of Honor awards, right? The names, where they fought, that kind of thing. And then finally was the Grammy artists and songs, right? Yeah. So those 3 categories. What was your strategy studying? Is it just kind of a review, brute force, or did you actually use memory techniques to get them in your brain faster?
Well, I tried to use memory techniques with kind of using all the information in the line to try to form not really an image, but more of a story.
Got it. Okay, yeah, cool. And then were you placing it in a memory palace or not so much?
No, I didn't place it in a memory palace this time. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for competing. Hopefully we'll see you next year.
Now for our on-site audience, we're going to teach you a skill that can allow you to practice how our memories work and what you might be able to do if you elected to be a memory mental athlete. So I'm going to share the skill with you, give you a list of words, and then see how well any of you might want to volunteer to run off the list. I want to introduce you to my son, Michael Dottino, who has just finished a 3-year study that was done by Columbia University, sponsored by MIT, Princeton, and Rutgers, to see how mnemonics and memory skills may physiologically change the human brain. So what they've done at Columbia is they have gone out into their student population, and they have brought students into this study, and they looked at their fMRIs prior to teaching them anything about memory. They then pictured their brains without any skill. Then Michael took them through several weeks of training, and they put them back into the fMRI machines to see if there was a physiological change that was actually taking place in their brain. The committee that reviewed that was made up of MIT, Rutgers, Princeton, and Columbia Neuroscience. As the study progressed, the scientists that were part of this got more and more excited at what they were actually seeing to the human brain as the skills were being taught and then applied, and being able to see the physical changes that were taking place to their brain structures, which were fascinating. They tell me that the study is going to be groundbreaking. It will demonstrate the fact that what you see here with the mental athletes that focus and practice their memory skills will actually enhance their ability to strengthen their brain and actually demonstrate the changes that take place that are healthy for cognitive fitness. And so I'm going to share with you a bit of what Michael was using and what he was teaching, and see how well you can apply that to your own mental fitness. The method is called the method of loci. And just take the word loci and think of it as a place or a location. And what we learn about our memories is our memories are enhanced and are improved by how we link and connect information to that which we already have. And as we link and connect that to things that we already know, we can take new information to it, we can add it by these connections that our brains are able to make, and it helps us to retain more and more information. And one of the myths that people have is they think, and I used to believe this, so I'll speak for myself. I used to think that there was only so much that we could absorb in our brain before we use up our capacity. And I would always worry about, gee, I don't want to learn too much too fast because I don't want to use up all the storage capacity that I have. As the science that I've studied for the last 30 years continues to reveal, an average human mind has an infinite amount of creativity and an infinite amount of memory storage capacity. All what we need to do is learn, so what are the skills and the techniques that bring mental challenges to us on a day-to-day basis, and it helps to strengthen the neural connections in the brain. And so the method of loci has been one of the simplest ways that we teach people what they can learn and practice in a fun way, whether you're going to the grocery store, whether you're trying to remember text of a presentation you may be doing, maybe you're looking for a promotion in your job and you're looking to cover policies. So we've taught this skill to Air Force pilots in the Air Force, we've taught it to firemen, we've taught it to pilots on airplanes, and it is amazing what their performance is able to do as you track their times and their ability to retain and recall information. One of the ways I've used it is when I'm reading paragraphs of information. I've learned how to highlight key words, and I put those key words into a loci method, and I can go through what that presentation is by linking back to that which I already know and walk around a room in my house, or a golf course is what I've used very often. And I can just look at a tee box on a golf course and I can pull the word out. I can then talk to a paragraph of information. So let's look at what that technique is. As I've already said, you've got to link it to a room. So I'm going to skip the history on this, and I'm going to take it to a room. So it requires you to think of a room that if you close your eyes and mentally try to retain what it was, you can recall it. So I'm going to use in our example the room that we've put together for teaching purposes, and when we're done, I'll have you translate this to your own room. So the first thing we want to look at is the room of objects around the wall of the room, because what you don't want to do in this technique is use a room where you're changing chairs. So for example, if we started with 1 to 9 and now 2 are gone, and you were trying to use these as your anchors or as your links and connections, and we took 2 chairs out of it, now your brain is starting to look for what's missing and how do I go back and use those as my anchors. So the first thing I teach people to do is use things that are against the walls. So if I wanted to use our seahorse and I wanted to use our second seahorse, or I wanted to use our screen in the front, and then I wanted to come over here, I'd probably use a light. I want to use things that are around the walls because they're not going to move. So in our example here, the first thing we're going to do is use the light switch. So what I want you to all just do is picture the light switch in your brains, and you might quickly close your eyes and say, I got it, I see a light switch. As I open my eyes again and I move to the next object in the room, what do I see? A lamp or a light. So I now see the light fixture, which then causes me to go to my third object, and I see a painting. So now if I may just ask you to briefly close your eyes again, and the first thing you see is a light switch. Then you see the lamp on the wall. Now you see a painting. Now as we continue to move around the room, I look at the fruit bowl that we've got sitting on our shelf there, and I see this plant as number 5. So I now have 5 anchors that I'm using, and after I move from my plant, I move over to my window. As I move from my window, I now have a standing lamp, and that takes me to a bookshelf. So what I've now picked up is my light switch, my lamp on the wall, my painting that we have hanging there. We put a fruit bowl on the bookshelf. We put a plant on the floor, a window, and we put a standing lamp and a bunch of books. We can stop right there enough to demonstrate the principle. So if I can ask all of you at this point to just call out what were our anchors. So what was the first anchor we're going to use? You can look if you want, but without it, but let's go. First anchor was, and then we went to, and then we go to, we got the picture. We went to the shelf and saw fruit bowl. On the floor we saw, and then we looked at, and then we came over to a standing light fixture, and then we closed up with our bookshelf. So now if you've got those anchored, I want to give you some words. And that, by the way, many of our mental athletes are using this technique right now as they're studying a list of 300 words. In order to study 100 words, what's the first thing they got to be able to do? Have 100 anchors. So people will say, gee, you taught me how to use this technique. Well, if I'm coming to the memory competition, I have to plan in advance, how many words do I want to remember? And if it's 100, then you've got to come here already with 100 anchors. Now, where do you get anchors? Well, I've already told you where I've done the anchoring system. Playing golf, I picked a tee box, a fairway, and a green. And if I'm playing 18 holes of golf, how many anchors do I have? Quick math, 18 holes of golf with 3 anchors, a tee box, a fairway, and a green. Wow. How many anchors? 54. I go around the golf course, I play golf on the first, the second, the third, and I play 18 holes of golf, and I play the tee box, the fairway, and the greens, and I have 54 anchors. Now, what do I use those 54 anchors for? To study a deck of cards, which is how many cards? 52. So I have 2 anchors I don't need to use. So again, it requires some pre-thinking of what am I trying to remember. So the first thing I teach people is, what is it that you're trying to remember? And let's look at the system that you're going to use to help you to retain and recall the information. So off we go. We got our light switch, our light fixture, and our artwork. We got our fruit bowl, our plant, and our window, and we have our floor lamp and our books. So we're stopping right there. I'm not going to take you through all 13. I'm going to take you through now. I want you to remember the first 8 words. So the first thing you're going to do is take the first word, and the word is astronaut. Now you'll look at the light switch, and you'll make up a story between you and the light switch. And the stories will be different for each of you because each of your brains will create your own story. It's a fabulous way to enhance people's creativities. I love doing this with kids especially because the stories they make up with taking that light switch and the astronaut is funny sometimes, it's humorous, but it's imaginative. And so we're tapping into our imagination. So I want you to take the light switch and link the word astronaut to the light switch. So each of you can make up your story about, I look at this light switch and I turn it on and off goes a rocket and there's an astronaut inside the rocket. We go over to the next item, right? Our next anchor, and we're going to link the word tree to it. So you're going to make up your own story with the second item in our system, and we're going to link the word tree to it. So make up your story, and we go off to our artwork. And in our artwork, we happen to see a frying pan, which is our third word that we're trying to retain. So now we're looking at the third item, and we're linking and creating a silly, funny, and imaginative story. Maybe it's got some smell to it. Maybe it's got some big-time visuals and exaggeration, and we've got a frying pan in it. We go over to our fourth anchor. And in our fourth anchor, we look at it and we say, my goodness, we have athletic shoes that we're trying to remember. Excuse me. So we retain, we look at it, and boom, there's athletic shoes. We go over to our plant on the floor, and we've got a textbook. So our fifth word for retention is called textbook. And our sixth word, we go to the window, and what do we see outside in the window but a barking dog just making a whole lot of noise because he wants to come in and get fed. So our sixth anchor in the picture window is the dog. Our seventh word is going to be a baseball. So we can see a baseball being somehow connected to our lamp, and we wrap it up with a guitar. Maybe our bookshelf has got all kinds of books on how to play the guitar. All right, if we can, oh, I don't want to do it that way. I want to go backwards. So on our first anchor, what do we have? Scream it out. Come on. What do we have on our first? We have our light fixture, and what do we see when we do our light fixture? An astronaut. Then we go over to our lamp on the wall. What do we have there? And then we go over to our picture, and what's coming out of the picture? And then we go over to the fruit bowl, and what do we see there? And we go to the floor and see our plant with, come on. What do we see? Number 5, with our plant, we see textbooks. And what do we see in the window? And then over on our standing lamp, we have, and then last but not least, our books are all about guitar. And so there's a technique as they now have to go through how many words do they want to come back and come up here and go through. They'll have pictures and images of how we link and connect to our memories and create our own list of things that we want to retain and remember. I've used this technique, and it's fundamentally simple, but what we need to recognize and realize is, oh, gee, how does our memory work? It works by how we link and connect and associate information to that which we already know, to that which we want to add to it. And the combination of that which we know to that which comes new creates additional links, connections, and associations, which we then can call creativity. And that was my source. If I recall what I said to you earlier today, my search to memory started with how will I get people, at that time in the IBM company, to be more creative in the work that they do so we could deal with the competition that we were facing in the 80s and then into the 90s and not lose our market share and or our company. And so that was my initial interest in how does memory work, and regardless of our age, can we improve it given the belief that we could, the willingness to find the skills and the methods and techniques that would apply, then the time to practice and learn what those skills are, and then use them, and then bring them to our daily lives. And so over the 30-plus years that I've done the work that I have, it's been fun and amazing to see people do things with their memories, as you see here with our mental athletes on stage, that they never thought were possible. And the saddest part that I get, I've been very heavily involved now with a workshop for cognitive impairment. And I'm meeting people that have either had strokes or early dementia, and we're teaching them some of these fundamentals of memory, and it's making a world of difference in their lives. And there is nothing that keeps me going more than somebody that walks into a workshop and questions their own abilities to what they can do, and showing them something they can do to take control over more things than they ever thought possible. In my next presentation, I'm going to take you through what I call the 6 key factors of long-term brain health. And it's been one of the most eye-opening exercises that I can possibly teach to anybody at any age. So with that, I think our mental athletes, I'm getting the 1-minute signal here. We should have our mental athletes coming back. I am going to have to pull up the word list on my laptop, and we'll come see how we're going down from 7 to 5 in this event. Okay, welcome back, mental athletes. You've had your 15 minutes to study our list of words, and we're going to find out who has remembered the most number of words, and we'll be eliminating 2 more people in this round as we move into our Tea Party event next. So with that, we're going to start off with Samay, our first word on our list, and we're off and going.
Steel.
All right, why is this not showing up? Steel? Okay, we're good. Our next word.
Visions.
Wait a minute, I think we jumped there. I want to go to...
Tony, we had steel, we had roof, and then James had vision.
Oh, wow. All right, we're on word 4. We had steel, roof, and vision. Cameron, it's to you.
Mimics.
Television.
Recipe.
Beach.
Wow. But back to you.
Wood.
Event.
Crowd.
Pollution.
Channel.
Vehicle.
Fashion. Cancer.
Necklace.
Laptop.
Climb.
Milk.
Nope,
That is incorrect.
that was incorrect.
Vase.
That is correct. Vase is the next word.
Emotion. Milk.
Hold on, wait, good, I got milk, I'm good. Trying to keep up with you guys, and doing so great.
Wrist.
Noise.
Medicine.
Hold on, I missed something here. I'm good with milk and wrist. Now what do we go for? Noise, got it, thank you.
Medicine.
Good.
The last correct word is medicine.
Medicine.
Whole.
Coast.
Brain.
Wow. We're good, we're
Was
on
that
word
wrong?
20.
Was that correct?
That was word brain.
Scarf.
Scarf is correct, we're going.
Jar.
Copper.
Socks.
Guitar.
Generosity.
Bus. Literature.
Yell.
Fireplace.
Gown.
Teeth.
Lamp.
All right, let me just stop there. Audience, that's 40 words they've got for recall, retention. Karen, did you want to say something? I'm sorry, we've done 40 words. Guys, very, very well done. Nicely done. All right, we're on word 41. We finished with lamp.
Laughs.
Laughs is good.
Waist.
We're good.
Iota.
Cheese.
Skirt.
Gondola.
Sky.
Engine. Acid.
Palace.
Spends.
Rodeo.
Desk.
Battery.
Organ. Whistle.
No, that is not correct. Word 56. Organ was our last word, the word after organ.
Building.
Building is correct. Good
Whistle.
work.
Whistle.
Whistle is good.
Library.
We got it.
Suit.
Window.
We are word 60. We have done 60 words. Keep it up. You're doing great.
Thimble. Fur.
Treaty.
Drugs.
Fiction.
So what's the last word?
Fiction.
Documentary.
No, that is not
That's
correct.
incorrect, Tony.
Document.
Document is the correct word. After document, where do we go? No, it's John. John, did you give us, Karen, I lost something here. Did John give us the right word? Oh, you got document. Good. Okay, next word after document.
Breathe. Gasoline.
Knuckle.
Taxi.
Cushion.
Snout.
Utensils.
Not correct. Next word after scout. Snout, excuse me. After
Farm.
That is not correct. I'm sorry, I didn't
Could you
hear.
repeat that again?
Farm.
Farm, I'm sorry, correct. Excellent, good work. That was word 73.
Coal.
Farm. Got it.
Utensils.
Good. We're on word 76.
Suitcase.
Excellent.
Porch.
Pupil.
We're on word 79.
Mouse. Mice. No, mice.
All right, we're good. Word 80.
Paper.
That is not correct. How are we doing here with our X's? All right.
Okay, Tony, to recap, Samay has a strike, Erdem has a strike, James and Cameron have no strikes, John has no strikes, Jason has one
All right,
strike.
and we are word 80.
We now need word,
81?
no, word 80, the word that Erdem missed.
Okay.
What was the last correct word?
All right, we have pupil and mice.
Kitchen.
Kitchen is correct for word 80.
Freedom.
Crown.
My laptop's got to catch up here.
Stomach.
Karen, hold, freedom we got, okay. And then
Those
crown?
are all correct, Tony.
Good, crown. and
We've
what are we
now
on?
completed 83 words.
All right, thank you. 84.
What's the previous correct word?
Stomach was 83.
Driver.
Excellent.
I don't know.
All right, is that his second X?
Yes, that would be.
That would be. So we have eliminated now Erdem and Matt. So do we want to keep going for a little bit after driver?
Which athletes want to continue to go to reseed? If you don't wish to continue, that's fine, but then you'll be reseated in chairs 1 or 2.
All right, let's keep
I'm
going.
good to continue.
So we're up to, we've done stomach and driver as driver number 84.
Pass.
Okay, Cameron?
Could you repeat the previous correct word, please?
All right, we had freedom, crown, stomach, and driver. Driver was word number 84.
Neck.
Go.
Dynamite.
Blanket.
Word number 88.
Building.
That is not correct. Word 88.
Yawned.
Excellent.
Eyelash.
Great work.
Branch.
We are now through 90 words.
Pushes.
91. You can stay if you want.
Mittens.
Wow, good work.
Beard.
Cameron?
Tress.
Panda.
Umbrella. Audience.
Board.
Word 99.
Castle.
Plates.
100. There it is. 100. Congratulations, boy. We'll keep going a little bit more here. This is by far our best ever in this particular event with the mental athletes. So we'll keep it going here for a little bit longer. We'll maybe go to 125, which is just mind-boggling. 101.
Book.
That is not correct.
What was the last word?
The last word, oh, good. What was the prior word?
Word 100 was plates.
Candle.
Candle was correct.
Signature.
Wow. Next.
Stairs.
Stairs. Excellent. 104.
Desire.
105.
Temper.
That is not it. Can you get to 105?
I memorized up to 102.
All right. Good work. Nicely
It's
done.
still amazing.
What was the last? What was the
Desire
last?
was the last word. 104. 105 is.
Player.
Excellent.
Hatred.
Great. Cameron, good job. John?
Package.
All right.
What was the last one?
Package was 107. Anybody for 108? Jason, 108?
What was that?
I'm sorry. We had player, hatred, package. We're on the 108.
Airplane.
Aircraft would do it. All right, Cameron, we'll just go down through 110 and we'll stop.
Am I doing the word after aircraft?
After aircraft. All right, anybody after aircraft?
Insulted.
You got insulted, and we'll stop at 110. Who's got 110? Cameron, you got 110?
Next.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Talk.
Talk, you got it. Good job. We're going to stop right there.
Tony, John, I feel like John, James, and Cameron, you guys might have more packed in there. You
Want
want
more?
to just run them?
Let's go.
Just let them go.
We'll stop at 125. Go ahead. Who we got? Karen, who do we want to go? We
Year.
stopped at talk. 111?
Knife.
No, 111 was not night.
Tony,
I'm lost.
John answered year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So James answered, yes. We're good. We're at
Ninth.
Cameron now.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay, I got to catch up to these guys. I do fast for me. Cameron, number 113.
Confusion.
Very good.
Voucher.
Wow. We're up to 115.
Hubcap.
Well,
Brought.
Oil.
we're up to 118.
Science.
That was not correct.
Fish.
You got it, fish.
Science.
No. Boy, that science is screwing us up here. We got fish. After fish comes
Planet.
planet.
Rhythm.
Rhythm.
Science.
There we go. 121. So we finally got science.
Shark.
Go.
Brush.
You still keep going. We're just going, Cameron. We're good. 123 was brushes. Cameron, you want to jump in with 120?
Jacket.
Tony,
got it.
technically it was brushes. I got it.
Okay, we're good. Brushes and then jacket was good. John, it's back to you. You're good? Anybody else for number 125?
Winner. Victory.
You're on the right page. It was victory. Cameron,
Year.
Oh, my goodness. No, number 126 is yard. We'll stop at 125. This is the most we've ever done. By far, guys, fantastic job. Well done. Best we've ever done on this event. Super job, and we'll give you another 15-minute break. It's 1:20. Let's see if we can get you back here by 1:30. Our favorite event, Tea Party. 3 strikes, now 3 strikes are out of the party.
I'm here with Matt Wilson, who just got eliminated. How did that go for you?
It was a tough round. I made some dumb mistakes. I skipped a locus, and then I mixed up document and documentary.
Yeah, I heard that. That's a close one.
Painful.
I've gotten X's on those before, where your image, I guess, is of a document, maybe. Is that what you had? And
I was thinking actually of doctor, but I knew in my head it was
Interesting.
documentary.
Got it. Yeah.
They made the wrong switch from doctor to a different substitute.
Okay. And where were you? Where did you skip a locus? Where was that?
Oh, that was around the 20th word.
Okay.
Roughly. Yeah, around 20th word.
Interesting. Wow. So of all the ones that you had, there was just that one gap. You happened to get that asked of you.
I think that was my only gap. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good performance. How many words did you actually memorize in total?
I attempted 100.
Oh, you attempted 100.
Nice.
Nice.
Historically, I was usually good enough, except for the one year, 2019, where I memorized exactly 100 and got knocked out at the end.
That's crazy. Yeah. Usually the event doesn't go much further than, say, 80 or so.
Yeah. My plan was to do like 120, but the words were hard, and I thought they were a little bit hard this year.
Really?
I thought I'd scaled back a bit.
Interesting. Okay. Well, good performance. I'm sorry it didn't go your way, but
that was not a good performance. That was bad.
No, but in terms of what you actually memorized, that's always impressive if you can get over 100. It's just the execution sometimes is nerve-wracking. But thanks. I hope to see you next year.
All right. Thanks.
We will now be hearing from the CEO of Lumosity or Lumos Labs, Bob Schafer, will be telling us all about the research that they have done and the skills that they put into their various activities that are part of the Lumos Labs app and website.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Schafer, and I wish I was there in person, but I'm really happy to be able to talk with you today. So my love for the memory competition comes from my fascination with the brain. I am a neuroscientist, and I'm also the CEO of Lumos Labs. We're a digital health company focusing on the brain and cognition. If you've been watching the competition today, you're already at least a little familiar with our main product, Lumosity, because you saw the mental athletes compete in a Lumosity game at the beginning of the competition. I have some slides here that I'll share. So today I'll be talking about cognitive training and the science of Lumosity, but really I want to focus on a couple topics inspired by our mental athletes in this competition. First, I want to describe our approach to brain training and how it fits in with the type of memory competition you're watching today. I'll also share some of the research we've been up to, ways that we can understand whether and how our form of brain training can help train memory and other aspects of cognition. So to kick it off, I want to start with the inspiration behind Lumosity, because this is actually the exact same inspiration that led to the creation of the Memory Championship. We believe that everybody, regardless of who you are, can learn to use their brain more effectively. For our memory competitors, this means learning mnemonics and other methods for helping your brain retain certain types of information. And for us, with Lumosity, we approach things using the science of cognitive training. Cognitive training can take many forms, but usually it consists of guided, targeted practice of cognitive skills with the goal of improvements that generalize to new, untrained tasks. So where our mental athletes have been sharpening their mnemonic techniques to apply them to specific events, you can imagine a complementary type of training, sort of like cross-training, with the goal of transferring to other things that you do. So this is Lumosity. We take cognitive tasks from the lab or the clinic and translate them into games to train your cognition. It's designed kind of like a gym for your brain. So each day you're given a set of games to train on, and you can track your progress and get insights and feedback into your training. So the program and many of the games themselves actually adapt to your performance. So they always meet you with a good, fun challenge. Here's an example of how we translate tasks into games. So games target a range of cognitive abilities. And by that, I mean things like memory, attention, problem solving, information processing speed, cognitive flexibility, also math and language. In this case here, in the middle of the screen, we started with something called the self-ordered pointing task. That's the task at the top here. So this is the lab task. And in this one, you need to continually choose objects that you haven't chosen previously. We translated this into a game called Title Treasures at the bottom here, which helps you practice this aspect of memory, where you need to keep track of all the things you've done previously. So try to think through some of the activities in your life where you might need to use that same skill. And on the right is an example of an N-back task. So the lab version up top and our game speed match below. The N-back task, here you show, you need to respond, you need to remember what shape is shown to you and then respond whether the new shape that's shown matches or doesn't match the shape that was shown 1 back, 2 back, 3 back, even beyond. So this is an N-back task here. So this task has been used extensively in cognitive research, and in fact, in some studies, the subjects exclusively do the N-back task over and over to understand how mental performance changes with practice. Our take on cognitive training is a little bit different. Instead of playing one single task over and over again, we believe that breadth of games and breadth of the cognitive skills that you're training is not only more fun, but also it's important to your training. And the idea is that components of our games, so things that your brain needs to do to play them well, these components are shared with things you do in other activities in the real world. So this could be something like your attention system needs to filter out distracting information whenever you're busy looking for where you left your keys. Or imagine reading a map and you're trying to visualize how your map relates to the real world around you, or even just remembering the items on your shopping list. So the goal of cognitive training is that training on the tasks or the games will not only help you improve at the games themselves, but it will also transfer to improvements in other areas. So in the next section, I'll show you a couple examples of how we've measured and studied that transfer. We've actually approached this in several different ways. And so I'll start with a study that we refer to as the crossword study. The results here were published in a research article a few years ago. So why do we call it the crossword study? Well, we call this a randomized controlled trial, an RCT. It's controlled because we use another activity to compare Lumosity to. And in this case, we used crossword training. It's also randomized, meaning that subjects don't pick which activity they want to do. We randomly put them into either the Lumosity group or the crosswords group. So subjects trained several times a week for 10 weeks. Again, half of them using Lumosity, half of them using crossword puzzles. And everybody in the study took a cognitive test. We call it the Neurocognitive Performance Test, or NCPT. They took it once at the beginning of the study, then they did their training, and they took it again after the 10 weeks of training. They also answered questions about real-world cognitive successes and failures, things like how often they misplaced items around the house. This was a big study as far as RCTs go, with nearly 5,000 participants, ages 18 to 75. So what did we find? On the left here, we see how much the subjects improved on their cognitive tests after they finished their training. You can see that the Lumosity group in teal had greater improvements than the crossword group in red here. And the improvement was more than double. If we look at the right-hand side, we can actually break this down into the individual tests of the NCPT. So Lumosity outperformed on a number of tests of things like short-term memory, working memory, different types of reasoning. There's actually an interesting detail in here. The one exception was a test of grammatical reasoning, where the crosswords group in red improved by more, which could make sense. So this was a nice result in a large study. But next, I want to show you a new paper that just came out in the last few months. I actually mentioned it during last year's Memory Championship, and I'm excited that it's now published and out in the world. So on the team, we call this one our dose response study, because we're able to look at what dose of Lumosity, meaning how many games did you play? How much did you train? how does that dose relate to the size of the improvement that you get? And again, we call this transfer of learning. So the training on Lumosity transfers to improved performance on untrained cognitive skills or cognitive tests. What's especially exciting about this one is that the subjects in this research were all real Lumosity members out in the wild. We're able to analyze data from Lumosity participants, and this was all de-identified data, of course, to understand how the amount that they played related to the size of their improvement on the cognitive tests. There were more than 100,000 participants ages 18 to 89. And this type of research just wasn't possible, years ago. So having the great Lumosity community and our ability to actually understand human cognition better, that really enabled this study here. So here we show average improvement on the cognitive test. This is the average score across all of these individual NCPT subtests as a function of the amount of Lumosity training that people did between their first and second tests. Remember, there are more than 100,000 participants here, so each dot that you see is about 5,000 people. And what you can see is that the more Lumosity use there was between tests, that translated to greater improvements in test performance. And this form here was actually true for all age groups and all levels of education. And again, this was a very wide age range, 18 to 89, and all levels of educational attainment. And at this point, so all age groups and all levels of education, I think this actually brings us back full circle to the inspiration and the motivation that I mentioned at the very beginning, which is that we and all of the folks at the USA Memory Championship believe that everybody, regardless of who you are, can learn to use their brain more effectively. So with that, I'll wrap up. If you'd like to learn more about Lumosity and our research, here are some links to more information. The first one goes to our Human Cognition Project, or HCP. That's our program for supporting independent external research. And you can also read more about our research on our blog. So thank you for having me. And now let's get back to the mental athletes.
Okay, we're moving along. We've started with our 9, we've taken it down to 7 and now to 5. And here's one of our most popular events. We call it Tea Party. 3 strikes, you're out. And again, what we've done in this event is we've taken a combination of numbers and names and faces and words. We've integrated it into one. It became one of our most popular events when we were doing this on television. And it's one of the most popular events that people come back and say, how did they do this? Because we all get to meet people, we all network, and so how are they taking the introductions of people that they're about to meet, and how do they retain the information that's so important about the name of the person and maybe something about their hobbies or foods or whatever they do. So this is one of our fun events of the day, and our audience can play along with this, except they're not going to be able to see the screens. Okay, so we can watch the video, so we can get that done there. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to get to see an introduction of 6 people, and they will go through information that the mental athletes have to absorb and take and put into their brains. They're then going to get to see it again, but they'll be able to pick up what we call mind maps. So there'll be mind maps under their seats when they get to visualize the second introduction of the Tea Party guest. They'll be able to pick up the mind map and follow it and make their notes. Then we'll give them 5 minutes to absorb the mind map and any notes that they may have taken along with it, and then we'll begin our recall. And in this event, they get 3 strikes and they're out of the party. And so with that, are we ready for the first introduction of our first Tea Party guest?
Hello, my name is Avery Miro Gatir. I was born on June 5th, 2003. My high school was in Turner Valley High School. We were known as the Imperial Knights, and I graduated in 2021. I currently live in Aurora, Colorado, 80138. Right now, I work with Abby of St. Prometheus Church as a volunteer. Living with me is my Mastiff. He is black, and his name is Prince. In my free time, I enjoy fencing, horseback riding, and playing tabletop role-playing games. I drive a 1999 Ford F-250 interior door red. My favorite foods are beef stew, chocolate chip pancakes, and brownies. Thank you.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Morgan Ellis Costner, and my birthday is August 24th, 2001. I went to Valaki Area High School, go Ravens, and graduated in 2019. Home for me is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, zip code 19135. I work at the Goodwill as a cashier, so I can best support my domestic long-hair cat. She's tabby-colored, and her name is Adelaide. I love reading, jigsaw puzzles, and doing my DIY crafts. My car is a 2008 Lincoln MKC in Birch. And my 3 favorite foods are chicken pot pie, macaroni and cheese, and Belgian waffles. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Ash Parker Knowlton. My birthday is August 24th, 2000. I went to Shadrock Academy. Our mascot was the Blue Devils, and I graduated in 2018. I live in Greensboro, North Carolina, 27401. I currently work at Walmart as a shelf stalker. My pet is a canary. She's a beautiful yellow, and her name is Melody. I like playing guitar, writing poetry, and drawing when I have the time. I drive a 2018 Toyota Highlander that is Ooh La La Rouge. My 3 favorite foods are Italian wedding soup, mozzarella cheese, and Hawaiian pizza. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Salem Wren Claremont. I was born on May 30th, 2002, and went to El Paso Institute. We're better known as the Blazers. I graduated from there back in 2020. I still live in El Paso, Texas, 79945, and work at Starbucks as a barista. My pet is an American short-hair cat with tuxedo fur, and his name is Corn on the Cob. My favorite hobbies are sewing, playing video games, and watching soccer matches. I drive a 2006 Kia Soul in mysterious blue. Finally, my favorite foods are apple pie, sweet Italian sausage, and baked potatoes. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Reagan Hartmer Vesna. I was born on December 16th, 2005. I previously attended Ephraim County High, the Centurions, and graduated class of 2023. I currently live in Wichita, Kansas, 67203. I work at Sephora as one of their many cast members, and at home is my Persian cat, White, named Glasses. When I have free time, I enjoy skiing, practicing magic tricks, and playing the violin. I drive a 2023 Tesla Roadster in Glacier Blue. My 3 favorite foods are Turkish Delight, shrimp scampi, and veal parmesan. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Maverick Miles Vostokov, and I was born July 18, 2004. I went to Yester Valley High School, home of the Mountain Lions, and graduated in 2022. Now I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53201. Right now, I'm working at Burger King as a line cook. My pet is a rat terrier with white and chocolate fur, and his name is Vargas. My favorite things to do are jogging, cooking, and go-kart racing. I drive a 2012 Chevy Cruze in Summit White, and my 3 favorite foods are corn dogs, green beans, and sweet and sour chicken. Nice to meet you.
We now have 5 minutes. They can study their mind maps.
All right, so now the competitors will have 5 whole minutes on top of what they've already had, which is about another 10 minutes looking at those videos. This is a tough event. Every year we've kind of tweaked the amount of information. Sometimes it feels like we've given them too much, sometimes not enough people. This year we had more people, but we pulled back on the information. As you can see here, this is the mind map that they actually looked at for this particular person, Avery Merrill Gauthier. You can see all their pieces of information, starting from the right, kind of going clockwise. You have the birthday, which is, a month, a number, and another number. The alma mater, it's a combination of words and names of things, and the year. So a lot of this information you can see is just a combination of sometimes shorter words or longer names of things, and then some numbers, right? Like the zip code, the year, the make of a car. What makes this really tricky is that it's so varied. Really the information, while logical, these are real names and mostly real things, they can be anything, right? So You know, his hobbies here are reading, jigsaw puzzles, and DIY crafts. Not too crazy, but someone else might have something a little more wild. The way I go about it, and what I assume most people up there are using, is some kind of memory palace. So they would, at least I would take each of these key points of information, right? There's 8 things there, 9 including the name. And each one, for me, I would always put in a location of a memory palace. Okay, so the name here, Ash Parker Knowlton, I would have to come up with an image for ash. I think of like some volcanic ash being parked on some kind of like known town, maybe. That's not quite the last name, but it would be enough for me to remember Ash Parker Knowlton, right? And then I would attach that to either a location or even the person's face, because I do have to recognize the person, right? So what's going to happen after their 5 minutes here is, at random, one of those presenters will show up and they will have to recall the information for that person first. That's not necessarily going to be in the order that they memorized. I believe Tony is saying there's 2 minutes left. What I imagine they're doing is, at this point, they've probably put most of the information in their memory palace. You know, started with the name, then placed the birthday, and so on and so on. And what they're doing now is just reviewing as much as they can, because this is really what's going to cement the information in their head. Once you place it in there with your memory palace, that's the hard part. Next is going through that palace and just making sure that you have it as strong as possible. What's tricky with this information is that, again, the information is so varied. So you want to make sure that you get the right food name correct, the right school name as your alma mater. If you get one little thing off, it's incorrect. Same with the name. You want the middle name, the right month of the birthday, all that. So detail is important here. Now, when they go to answer, they have 3 strikes. So there is some leeway in terms of what they can miss. Some strategies people go for, if they can't memorize all of it, is to maybe just choose to memorize only a specific person or a few specific persons and just take a chance that that person won't get asked. That's a bad strategy, very risky. But you could also just skip maybe one piece of information or 2, something that's your weakness, maybe something with numbers, and just hope that when it's your turn, you don't have to say that piece of data. So there are about 30 seconds left. You can see Cameron there frantically just capturing what he can at the end here. Cameron's really done a great job today so far. Nobody expected him, knows his background, and he's performing really well. So Jason over there flipping through the last pages just to make sure he's got what he has. And we're going to close up here, and they're going to start their recall.
Mind maps collected, back under your seats. And we'll get right to it, since I know you're anxious to get going. Sound for me? Sound? Testing, sound? Testing? All right, I think we're ready to go, and James is going to start us off. Karen, we have a 50-second clock on here. We have 1 minute. Now, what do we? All right. We got to go back 15 seconds. Okay, we're over to James, and we have our first Tea Party guest is back up on the screen. You want to tell us who this is?
Asher Parka Cruz.
That is not correct. Who's our first Tea Party guest?
Do I say the same question?
You get the same one.
Ash Parker Knowlton.
Are we good, Karen? All right.
Is that Olson?
No.
I said Knowlton.
Okay. Birthday. This is over to Jason for the birthday.
August 24th, 2000.
And her high school alma mater comes over to Cameron. You're still doing, we're still on Asher, and we now want to know what her high school...
Shardrock Academy, the Blue Devils in 2018.
Excellent. Her home residence comes over to...
Greensboro, North Carolina, 2 7401.
That is fantastic. Great job. It's back to James for her employment. Do you remember what she did?
Walmart stalker.
All right. And her pet? Try that again. Her employment. Okay. Her employment then. I'm missing something here. Go.
Walmart stalker.
All right. Her employment. Oh, we're going to go back over to Samay.
Was that correct?
That was not correct. That's where I thought it was. It was not. Her employment.
Walmart as a cashier?
That is not correct. Boy, we're going to have troubles here with Ash. What was her employment?
Walmart shelf stock.
That is correct. The shelf stocker is where we're missing up on her. She was a shelf stocker. All right, I missed that one part. The pet. Cameron, it's over to you for her pet.
A yellow canary named Melody. Beautiful yellow.
I'm good there. John, her hobbies.
Playing guitar, writing poetry, and drawing.
All right, her car.
2018 Toyota Roadster in Ooh La La Rouge.
All right, and her favorite foods. What am I missing here? What was her car?
A Toyota Highlander in the color Ooh La La Rouge from year 2023.
That is incorrect.
2018 Toyota Highlander Ooh La La Rouge.
All right, we got her. I don't know what I missed there. Foods.
Mozzarella cheese, Hawaiian pizza, Italian wedding soup.
We're good. John, we're going to another person now. We're going to the next Tea Party guest. And John, his name.
It's Avery Merrill Gutierrez.
All right, we're good. His birthday. It's over to you. Samay, his birthday.
June 5th, 2003.
Excellent. Good job. High school alma mater.
Let's see. Imperial Knights 2000 and I can keep going. Okay. Imperial Knights, no.
High school alma mater, Eterna Valley High School, Imperial Knights in 2021.
Correct. John, the home residence.
Aurora, Colorado, 80138.
Perfect. Excellent.
Okay, Tony, do you want to recap?
All right. Yeah, where are we? I can't see the board again.
Unfortunately, James was eliminated.
Okay.
Samay has 2 strikes. Jason has 1 strike.
Okay.
Neither Cameron nor John have a strike.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, where did I leave off? Employment.
Abbey St. Presbyterian Church as a volunteer.
Okay. Now we go to a pet.
Tony, that's not correct.
Jeez, Karen, what is not correct? Try that
Perhaps
again.
Jason can tell us what is incorrect.
Abbey of St. Prometheus Church volunteer.
Employment.
Unfortunately, that is Samay's 3rd strike.
Okay, we got it. So now we have our 3 finalists?
Yes, but they can continue to go through. Take a deep breath, you guys. All amazing. If you would like to stay, please do.
The pet, we're up to a pet. I don't know how I'm missing this. I'm trying to hear some of this. The pet. Cameron, you got the pet.
Black Mastiff named Prince. Black Mastiff named Prince.
Okay, hobbies.
Fencing, horseback riding, and TTRPG.
You got it. The car. Samay, do you know what his car was?
Yep. Yeah, I'm blinking.
See, I'm having a hard time hearing, Cameron.
I'll pass.
He's blanking.
All right. Car? No, okay. Cameron, do you know his car?
Hold on.
Nobody knows his car. John, I hope it's going to come.
He's thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ford F-250. Toreador Red 2021.
It's 1999.
1999, John has got it. Do we know what his foods were? Samay, do we go back to his foods?
Beef stew, chocolate cake. No.
Beef stew, chocolate chip cookies, and now chocolate cake.
Not yet. There's 3 foods.
Brownies.
Brownies. What is it? We'll do one. I'm sorry, Cameron.
Was it chocolate chip cookies or pancakes?
All right, we'll do one more guest, and then we'll stop it there. Let's just go through one more guest. And this is who? Samay, we'll start with you.
I want to say Lindsay something. I don't know.
Name? Jason, do you know her name?
Colleen? Yeah.
We're not good there. We're not going to get her name. Cameron?
This is
Cameron, go ahead.
Salem Wren Claremont.
That's her name. Wow, good job. Now, do we know her birthday?
Her birthday is May 30th, 2002.
Yeah, good job. High school alma mater?
El Paso Institute Blazers 2020.
Excellent, good job. Home residence, Cameron?
El Paso, Texas 79945.
Excellent, wow, good job. Employment?
Starbucks barista.
Okay, now her pet?
American short-haired cat. The color is tuxedo, and the name is Corn on the Cob.
Excellent job. Hobbies?
Sewing, video games, soccer.
Okay, her car? John, do you know her car?
2006 Kia Soul in mysterious blue.
Fantastic, and we'll close it up with her foods.
I'm blinking.
All right.
Apple pie, Italian sausage, baked potatoes.
All right.
Tony,
It was
before
sweet
you,
Italian.
technically, yes,
Yeah,
you
I've had
missed
it good.
sweet.
Great job. We got through 3 of the Tea Party guests. Good job.
For
All
the
right,
purpose,
so we,
for the purpose, Tony, of cards, your final order for seating, John would pick his seat first,
okay,
followed by Cameron, followed by Jason.
okay. Those are our 3 finalists that'll be coming back up here. We'll give them again a break, a chance to go out, and we'll take it from there. But before you all go, can I get one of you to come on your microphones? How do you do this? Because this is the most popular question I get of this event. How do they do this? Samay, how did you do this?
I'm personally not the best at this, but what I do is I put each set of information, for example, like birthday, into one place in my memory palace. So I just use that. So I convert the birthday into letters and then make that into Word and then put that in my memory palace.
Jason, you want to give us a go how you do this?
Actually, I didn't use memory palaces. I kind of just linked them all together for everything, trying to make them associations like the foods and the hobbies, stuff like that, them actually doing it or them working in that different one with it.
How about the numbers?
Numbers, I have a 3-digit system, so just trying to make an image for the first three, and then the second one using the other two digits.
Excellent. Well, the memory palace they're talking about is the loci method I talked to you. They could be Roman room, journey, memory palace. Memory palaces, you've done more than one room, so you're walking through a palace or a whole house. Let's go over to Cameron. How have you done this? Give me numbers, words, the name.
Okay,
Give us names and faces. How did you remember the name of the face?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm going like down here, so I didn't look at their names at all.
Oh, okay. So how about favorite foods? How did you do their list?
Yeah, sort of like Jason said, just associations between things.
Okay.
And yeah.
Got it. And John, what do you want? Take anything you want. Names, face?
Yeah, to remember something, you use a place that you know well, like your home or a friend's home, and you turn all of the information into a mental image or a thought or an action, something that you can place in that location in your mind to remember it. And you connect them, you make stories, you make them goofy, you trust what comes to you first, but it's just imagination.
Got it. Thank you so much, all of you. Good job. Well done. I have 2:13, so our finalists come back in on 2:30. It's 2:13. So you've got 17-minute break. And our next presentation is going to be given by Robert Ajemian from MIT, the McGovern Brain Institute. Robert has been one of our most popular scientists that has been with us for years and is one of our biggest scientific fans of the USA Memory Championships. So we're now ready to listen to Robert Ajemian give you a bit of the science behind what you've been watching here today.
All right, so I'm a neuroscientist who studies memory amongst some other sensory motor cognitive phenomenon. And most of you, when you're looking at what these incredible competitors to do, will have two thoughts, two impressions or beliefs that cross your mind. And the first will be, there must be something different about these people, right? I could never do anything like that. That's certainly a natural reaction. That actually was my first reaction about, 12 years ago before I started following this and studying this. And the second point would be, what would make sense for me to try? Why? Any information I need, I can look up on my smartphone. So why do I want to stick this useless stuff in my head and take up valuable space? And these are normal impressions and beliefs to have. But there's the question, are they correct or are they myths? And it turns out that both are indeed myths, and it shouldn't take too much to actually convince you of that. First, anybody can do what you're seeing here. Memory training has been going on not for decades or centuries, but for millennia. And it exhibits a remarkably large practice effect. So here's an example. Let's say that in, 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes, you can learn 7 words in sequence correctly, maybe more, maybe less. Now let's say for 2 to 3 months, 20 to 30 minutes a day, you practice mnemonic techniques, and others here will talk to you about what those are. But you practice mnemonic techniques. At the end of those 2-3 months, there is no doubt you will be at 40 to 50 words. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. There's, of course, natural variability. But this is a huge, huge increase. Even if we're overestimating it, say 100, 200, 300% increase. This is the largest induced behavioral effect in existence. And let's contemplate what some of the consequences are. And this will reiterate the point that this is technique. It has to be technique because they're all trained on the same technique, and this technique hasn't really changed much over centuries. So if we have any capacity, in this case, we're talking about memory capacity on the x-axis, all right, and you want to look at people's general innate intrinsic ability, you'll get some kind of a curve, a bell curve, whatever, and some people will be here on the curve and some people will be on the other sides of the curve. This could be reaction time, could be anything. But what's unique really about this memory training is let's say you've trained. Now the curve moves here, moves way over to the right. And what is this telling you? This is telling you is my natural inclination towards having a good memory or not is absolutely dwarfed by the training effect. And so it's not like strength or reaction time or acuity of vision or something like that. It's more like a skill, right? If you think about golf, what's the best indicator to how good someone's at golf? The amount of time they've spent practicing it. It's not going to be, some people aren't born to be golfers. I mean, obviously some people are more coordinated than others and have certain innate skills, but it's really about putting in the thousands and thousands of hours it takes. And memory training is no different than that, really. So if that's the case, that training is good, why should you do it, even if in the digital age you have all this access at your fingertips? And I think the question amounts to this. Are there any general cognitive benefits to be derived from memory training? If so, there may be utility in exercising your brain in this particular way, despite having massive amounts of information at your fingertips, in the same way that you jog, right? You don't jog in order to transport yourself from point A to point B. You do it to stay in shape, right? We have cars to transport us from point A to point B. So you might want to learn to exercise your memory faculty, not because you need it, although it helps, but because it's part of general cognitive fitness. Unfortunately, the conventional wisdom is probably to the contrary on this, and this is a real shame, and this is what I've been fighting against, Tony's been fighting against, even the people at Lumosity, Seth and Bob are fighting against, right? Which is that people don't think memory training is important. And here's a quote from the educational establishment that probably will resonate. You probably can imagine someone saying like something like this. In what way would a child be rewarded for being better at remembering in a modern progressive educational establishment? Are we going to introduce tests where performance relies on memory? Given the availability of modern technology, there is no real practical reason for memorizing a long list of facts. Well, I mean, that could be true if there were no other side benefit to memory, if it weren't like exercising. But this is what a lot of people think, and indeed the scientific establishment is not different. But of course, people in this room, these competitors, Tony, Michael, they've been training people, they'll give you a very different answer, that these techniques are helpful, effective, and fun, meaning that they keep you generally mentally sharp, have some transfer. The degree of transfer is certainly unknown and not quantified as of yet, but there's almost certainly, at least I believe, some transfer, and it works at any age. Therefore, for example, if you're concerned about dementia and, of course, other problems, that this is a good way to exercise the faculties involved. And Tony says it very, very creatively when he says memory is a verb, not a noun. So it's not about static information, it's about some kind of a process. So, but again, this is nice. I'm giving you a lot of words, but what's kind of the scientific underpinning for this? And here's where I think I can shed some light on why memory is different than the way a lot of people conceptualize it. And I would consider this confusion one of the greatest conceptual misunderstandings in history, which is that human memory, like other types of memory, obeys the inscription metaphor. What do we mean by the inscription metaphor? We mean the memory is etched into some medium, it is fixed in place, and thus it is stored at a location. Whether we're talking about hieroglyphics, pen on paper, or memory registers in a computer, they all obey the same principle. You have some predetermined code, You take the information, you draft it in that code, you etch it somewhere, and then you come back and access it when you need it. This is really the basis for the modern computer, where memory and computation are segregated. So if I want to remember something, in the computer wants to remember something, it calls up the location and dumps that piece of information onto the buffer, and it does whatever manipulations need to be done. That's not what our brains are like, right? The brain architecture is distributed, overlapping, and interconnected. Basically, all of your neurons are connected to all of your neurons. It's not quite that extreme, but it is the case that with 3 or 4 synapses, you can get from any part of the brain to any other part of the brain. It's a distributed, reciprocally connected architecture where any region can reach any other region at any point in time. In this type of a system, memory isn't stored in one particular location. It's reflected in this vast associative web as a pattern of associations by which one piece of information overlaps and connects to another piece of information. The technical term for this is content addressable memory. Memory is stored by its content or its similarity to other things. There's no abstract code that you're reading off from where you need a third person to read it out. The information has meaning by definition of its relation to other things. This is how human memory works. And we see overwhelming evidence for the associational nature of memory all the time, right? All the techniques, mnemonic techniques, and even though they're all similar, there are slight differences, they all basically obey the same principle, which is you have old information in your head. Now you want to bring in some new information. So what you do is you use the old information as a scaffold for latching on and bringing in the new information. You create some sort of association between them. This is an association between 2 distributed overlapping representations, okay? Then, of course, there's lots of cognitive phenomena like the tip of the tongue phenomena, right? Where, oh, I know that actor, I know the movies they did, I know their age, I know what they look like, I know who they married, but I can't remember the name, right? And this shows that it's not a readout of information, it's a relationship of information that's all bundled together. And if you revisit that actor's name, maybe in an hour later, when your brain is in a new state, you might be able to jar those connections and those associations enough so the second time around you do manage to recall it. But the point is, whether you're successful in the recall or not, everything is stored and recalled relationally. There's no difference. Information in your brain only has meaning in relation to all the other information in your brain. And the third area where this is pretty clear, that is the associational nature of memory, is domain expertise. So take a baseball pitcher. The relief pitcher comes in, pitches 3 innings. If you ask them after the fact, let's say they threw 40 pitches. What were the pitches you threw? They'll go boom, 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 1 through 40. They'll tell you what they threw, why they threw it, to whom they threw it. And this is not because they're all memory savants, that if you ask them to remember 40 grocery items, they'd remember them for you. They may actually have poor memories. But their expertise is in the domain of baseball. Hence, there's a rich associative infrastructure that they've already developed to support all of the concepts that they are using in playing baseball. So when they throw a pitch, that pitch has a lot of meaning. To you or I, it might just be a curveball. To them, it's a curveball with a particular break, a particular style that has particular effectiveness to particular batters under particular circumstances that they threw particular times in the past. Okay? So when information is that rich, you won't forget it. Just like, right, you don't forget very significant events in your past, like, or historical events. 9/11, for example. Those who are alive then will remember what they were doing on 9/11. Why? Because it was such an important thing that led to so many other things that really carved out a large territory in your associational infrastructure. I mean, this is how you think, right? You think about something, and then that leads you to something else, and then that leads you to something else, the overlap, and you do this associative chaining. And this happens all the time, okay? So we're almost done. So given this vast associational infrastructure, let's explain why this might be helpful to exercise through mnemonic techniques. One of the things that happened, probably the most important change between non-human primates, various monkeys, gorillas, etc., and humans, is that our association cortices expanded. What does that mean? Well, we have like visual cortices, auditory cortices, tactile cortices, cortices for motor control, etc. And we have primary ones. But then we also have, at a higher level, association cortices, whose job is to take high-level abstract representations from all these lower-level phenomena and to link them or connect them, right? And the point is that this ability to associate high-level constructs from different modalities of our existence leads to a lot of high-level human cognitive performance, not only increasing our memory, making it stickier when it's more heavily laden with associations, but pattern recognition, high-order concept formation. Our ability to form abstractions is much greater than animals. Creativity, right? What is creativity? Creativity, Tony will tell you this, and he studies how mnemonics, he's gone in the New York school systems and taught mnemonics to kids and seen, of course, anecdotally, not confirmed by any studies, that creativity expands. Creativity is linking new unrelated concepts in novel ways, right? You've learned these couple of concepts, they're not necessarily related, you come up with a relation between them. And that's the kind of thing you can't do unless you have a lot of that, those concepts in your head, that information in your head in the first place. So the idea is that memory training and memory is part of this broader aptitude for associating one thing with another. And that's good for cognitive fitness, just like jogging is important for overall cardiovascular fitness. And the conclusion of the slide will be that, again, memory training is a good actual mental exercise. It's no fundamentally different than jogging. And here I'll make the point, the lack of use of the memory faculty is a historically new phenomenon, right? Only the new generation doesn't have to remember anything. They don't know phone numbers. When I was a kid, I at least had the phone numbers of all my friends in my head. Nowadays, you don't even have to have that. Your smartphone has it. So we really have downsized the role of memory in any aspect of our life. And we have to ask ourselves, is that a good thing? And there's also, I won't have time to get into it, but there's a very large study called the ACTIVE study on pre-dementia. It's the largest study in existence, tens of thousands of people over decades. In the past, my colleague and associate Kartik Srinivasan talked about it to the US Memory Championship audience. And the bottom line there is nothing has been really rigorously shown to help with pre-dementia. It's a very hard problem with improving the chances that you ward off pre-dementia getting worse. But a couple of things have proven to have some utility. I don't remember what they all were. One was blood pressure reduction, and another was cognitive training. And again, I don't have the details of that. Other people have them and can talk about them in different contexts. But so that, makes you think that maybe this stuff is important. Maybe this stuff does work. And again, I would urge you to talk to Tony and Michael from the US Memory Championship and Seth and Bob with Lumosity and learn more about this. So because Lumosity is doing a lot of scientific studies on this. Michael and Tony have a lot of actual hands-on experience doing this stuff, it seems to work. It seems to make a difference. People who try it generally like it. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the incredible entertainment you'll see by these amazing feats of memory, and I will talk to you all later.
James, what happened?
So I goofed a little bit with how I remembered the format going. I thought it was like you watch the videos and then you get the videos with the mind map and then another 5 minutes, which is exactly what happened. I just, for some reason, thought I'd have another 5 minutes.
Oh, no, okay.
So I was like, okay, I pretty much know everything. I'll go back and like refresh and like hammer in on the questions I know I'm going to get. So that's why I was kind of like, with the stalker, I missed the detail about the shelf. And then for the car, I knew the color, the year, the make, but the model, I missed that. So like those are the areas where if I was more alert to what was going on, I probably would have got those, but it is what it is.
That's the thing, like those details, when you're memorizing, you kind of not glance over it, but it's less defined. And then with your subsequent passes is where you kind of like fill that in. And if you manage that incorrectly, I can see how you missed that detail. So close, right? Like nobody, even Tony didn't even know what you got wrong.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, man. I know you put a lot of time into this and effort. Do you think you'll be back next year?
Hoping so.
Okay.
I don't know. Qualifier got tough this year. Every year, more people, and I'm still going to try.
Good, good. We'd hope to see you back and win it someday. I'm always rooting for you.
Thanks, sir.
Nice.
Okay, we are down to our final event of the day to determine who will be our USA Memory Championship and gets to go home with our Seahorse trophy. So we'll talk a little bit more of that a little bit later. What we're going to call?
Simon the Seahorse. He is named after Simonides. Do you know what Simonides contributed to the field of memory?
No.
The Roman room.
Oh, good. I should know that. All right. We have two of our veterans here in the middle, or the outsides of a young gentleman here that's in the middle that has done extraordinarily well. Cameron, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your interest in coming here today, and how does it feel being like the middle of the Oreo cookie between two veterans?
Well, yeah, so like I said, I got interested in Nelson Dellis's YouTube videos, so I started to practice, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed the competition. You guys set it up really well. And in terms of being between these two, I mean, the cream's the best part of the Oreo, so I'm fine with it.
All right, Karen, do you want to explain now what's going to happen? You got 5 minutes to remember.
So the athletes will have 5 minutes to remember 2 decks of playing cards that have been shuffled together. It's a deck is 104 cards total. They're going to memorize and recall. They'll memorize however they wish to. Recall will start from the bottom card of the second deck, the one that actually touches the tabletop, and go up. This is a sudden death competition, meaning the first athlete or the athlete who makes a mistake is immediately eliminated until we eliminate 2 and crown the 24th USA Memory Champion. In the event that there is a tie, we will go into another deck of cards shuffled together, but we will significantly reduce the memorization time. In the event there are 2 athletes remaining after a mistake has been made, the next athlete in line must correctly recall the card that was missed, unless there were clues given to what its proper should be, upon which we will just say this is the next card and we will advance from there. Tony, you will give the athletes a 1-minute warning when they have 1 minute left, please, from their 5-minute memorization time. Then there will be a 60-second hiatus to set in your memory before we begin recall, round robin style. It would start with Jason, move to Cameron, and then to John.
Okay. I think we're ready to go. And may the competition begin.
All right, so we're starting here with the 5-minute counter ticking down. Everybody's picked up their first deck of cards. As you saw here, there was a little bit of an issue with the actual font size of the cards. So if you've ever played with a deck of bicycle cards, sometimes they have these jumbo ones where the number, the suit, the value is bigger. Usually not a problem, and I'm sure John has practiced with those, but they were mixed with the smaller font, which is not impossible, but annoying and tricky, especially if you're trying to go for speed and accuracy here. It's like an extra thing you have to consider now. I'm not sure how experienced Cameron is with cards. He looks like he knows what he's doing. And it looks like he's gone through his first deck and he's just reviewing now. John, this is Jason here. He's still kind of going through his deck. You can kind of see he's got, I think, a 3-card image that he's going through. You can see him kind of move 3 cards at a time, and he's converting those to an image, usually what's called a person action object. So he sees a card as a person doing an action with an object, and then he solidifies that image, puts it in his memory palace, and moves on to the next set. Now, John, on the other hand, who's a veteran with cards, he can do a deck of cards, a single deck of cards in like 20 seconds. He uses a 2-card system, so every pair of cards is its own thing. And I believe he'll put, it's a complicated system, but he'll put multiple pairs in one location. And he moves fast. Look at that. Every pair, he just knows what it is. Think of all the combinations that there are, right? You have 52 times 51 possible images that a pair could provide, which is 2,700 plus. With his system, it's a little bit less than that. Well, it's half than that, but that's still over 1,000 images. All right, so he's gone through the first deck and reviewed it. He's now moved on to the second here. Yeah, just look at him pushing those cards out. Cameron here, still on that first deck. You can see he hasn't touched the second deck yet. Is it important? It can be, of course, because John will get through both decks in the 5 minutes. Now, will he get them all right? Probably, but it's not for certain. He could mess up. He could buckle under the pressure and say the wrong card. He could be encoding it wrong, right? So you never know. I'm sure he's going to go pretty safe because he probably knows he's gone against Jason before. He knows he's probably faster than Jason. Cameron's probably the wild card, but I would imagine at the corner of his eye he's seeing that Cameron is still on his first deck, which is probably making him feel more confident. All right, so he's going through the second deck there, John. That's John's hand. Cameron's doing the technique under the table. That's what I do sometimes. But it looks like I have a feeling he's just trying to get that first deck completely perfect and just doing a bunch of reviews. And Jason, here we go. I think he's picked up his second deck, which is great. If you can get a few cards in the second deck, that's going to boost your chances against everybody else. Yep, and there's, I think, about 1:30 left here. So more than half the 5 minutes is gone. You want to be wrapping up that first deck and make sure that you have it. Again, I think that Cameron's going for the strategy of just keeping one deck strong and secure and try to nail that. And if it goes past that, then so be it. Looks like Jason memorized the first deck and is giving the second deck a little bit of love. And here's John. He's doing a quick review. Once you get that encoded in your mind, it's usually a fast, quick review. I would imagine yep, and now he's going to switch to the other one. Looks like he's feeling good. This is everything. He does this every day. This is not a challenge for him other than, of course, the nerves. But he knows he can do this. And yeah, it remains to be seen if he can nail it all correctly. About 30 seconds left, a bit less. The athletes will be scrambling here to just make sure that they probably have the early parts of the first deck since that's what they're going to start with. So let's see what happens. 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1, and that's time. So now we'll have about 60 seconds just to consolidate all this information. So once they place it all in their mind palace, you're seeing the cards, but now you take the cards away. It's important to have a time period where you can just like go back through the images. And if you can do that and get them right in your mind, usually they will stay there. And that's a crucial part to being able to recite something correctly in the way that they're doing, where they have, they can't just say it all at once. They have to kind of wait, let the next competitor say the next card. It's somewhat of a medium long-term memory, so you still have to have it very strongly in there. 10 seconds left here, and then they're going to start the recall. Starting with Jason, he'll say the first card. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we're going to give this a go here. Let's see how we're doing. We're going to start off with Jason. First card in the deck.
6 of hearts.
And we're off and going, Cameron. And it's you, John.
9 clubs.
And it's back over to Jason.
Jack of clubs.
Cameron.
5 of spades.
John.
7 clubs.
Okay.
5 of diamonds.
Cameron.
10 of clubs.
John.
Queen hearts.
Good.
King of clubs.
Good.
Queen of spades.
Good. Good work, Cameron.
Jack clubs.
Okay, back over.
King of diamonds.
It's to you, Cameron. It does not running. Okay, Cameron, you're out.
King hearts.
King of hearts it is. It's down to 2.
8 of hearts.
John.
Jack spades.
Back fourth.
Seven of clubs.
That is not correct. We now have our
2 of diamonds.
2 of diamonds it is, John. Congratulations. You're
John, are you up to running through the cards, or do you want to just celebrate bringing Simon home?
2 of diamonds is where we stopped.
Jack of diamonds.
Good.
Sorry. 10 of hearts.
You want to jump in here, Cameron? You want to help out? All right, we had the 10 of hearts was the last card. We had Jack of diamonds, 10 of hearts.
Jack of spades.
Yeah, Jack of spades has got it. That comes.
7 of clubs.
All right, Cameron, you can stay in here if you want.
King of spades.
Right, you got king of spades. And then
4 of hearts.
4 of hearts. All right, Cameron.
Ace of hearts.
Ace of hearts is good.
6 of clubs.
Great.
Jason, you want to jump in, or you're
Cameron.
7 of spades.
That's correct. 7 of spades.
Queen of diamonds.
All right, back, Cameron. You want to?
3 of hearts.
You got it.
5 of clubs.
Go.
Queen of hearts.
Cameron, you're doing great. How'd you miss that one card?
8 of spades.
8 of spades. You would have given John a run for this.
7 of spades.
7 of spades it is.
10 of spades.
Go.
3, no. 2 of spades.
2 of spades it is.
3 of spades.
3 of spades is correct.
10 of diamonds.
10 of diamonds. God.
Queen of clubs.
6 of clubs.
Doing good.
Jack of hearts.
Back to Cameron.
4 of clubs.
That is not correct. What's the next card, John?
9 of clubs.
All right. You want to run them? You still in this, Cameron? Or
He's getting his
We stopped at
practice in
9.
for next year's.
yeah. 9 of clubs was the last card.
5 of diamonds.
5 of diamonds. You good, Cameron, or you out?
Wait, hold on. 2 of hearts.
2 of hearts it is.
Queen of spades.
Great.
Okay, yeah, that's about it.
That's it.
3
All
of
right.
clubs.
3 of clubs. Go.
4 of clubs.
Okay.
6 of diamonds.
We're almost
4
at
of hearts. 8 of hearts. 9 of hearts. Queen of clubs. 4 of diamonds. 2 of clubs. 4 of diamonds. 2 of clubs.
Good. This is your second deck, by the way. This is not somebody you
King
play cards
of
with.
Hearts.
Go.
3 of hearts. 8 of diamonds. 5 of hearts. 3 diamonds. 6 hearts. 10 clubs, ace, spades. 2 of hearts, jack of diamonds. 3 of diamonds, ace of clubs. 5 spades, 4 spades. 8 of spades, king of spades.
Doing good.
Ace, diamonds, 7 diamonds. 8 clubs, 5 clubs.
Wow.
10 spades, 2 spades. 10 diamonds, queen diamonds. King clubs, ace clubs. Yeah, I'm blanking on the next 2. Skip those 2, come back.
Go.
6 of spades,
6
4
of-
of spades.
That is correct.
Sorry, a lot of emotions are going through me right now.
All right.
I'm good. Let's
This
call
is
it good.
We'll
Let's
call it good.
That
This
is
great.
amazing.
He got to card number 84, so he was all the way up to 84 by the time he got. So Cameron,
I got them all. I got them all,
got 'em
but
all?
just emotions are
Okay,
running. So
we'll take them all.
we're gonna
Cameron, next year you got to go for 104 cards. That's the way to do it. You know. Congratulations. Jason, you want to just tell us about what it was like for you to compete again this year?
It was really fun. I appreciate all the competitors, you guys putting this on. I really enjoyed it. I was hoping to win it, but there's always next year.
Well, you got to the final 3 here, so this was great, and that's just the cards. Cameron, your thoughts of competing against these Oreo cookie guys here?
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, I haven't done something like this before, so hopefully I'll come back and then compete again.
The key is, you're going to come back and challenge these guys. That's
Yeah.
really what the important part is. John, what was it like for you? This is your 3rd championship.
3rd title, yeah. Just impressed with Jason coming back. Cameron, wow, awesome. Like, for the pressure, like, I know what this is like. This is hard. For you to do this, like, guys, watch out for this guy. And I mean, Jason too, yeah. So this is really, really hard. You can train all you want. You can add all the pressure you want. I do this event downstairs with my 2 daughters, a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. They've got their music going. They're running around. They're asking, Daddy, can I have a card? I've got my youngest pulling my hat off. And I train in less time. I train in 3.5 minutes. But this right here is harder than that.
Wow. Why would you
So-
think that's harder with the 2 kids jumping on you?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard here because you just realize you get one mistake, you know, and you have the pressure, the stress. We all know stress affects memory, and this is stressful. So even if you prepare for stress, it's those moments. You have a moment of like, oh crap, I don't have it, that moment will derail you in something like this. At home, you can come back from that. But when you're on a test, when you're in the moment, it's hard. So you have to train for the stress, too.
So, Cameron, you missed the one card, but then you ran a string again. What was the one card that you missed, and what was the bump in the road for you?
Well, I mean, I remember it now.
You remember it now?
King cards, yeah.
Well, I told you what the card was. So.
Yeah.
Jason, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I think it was like 2 of diamonds, I think, or something like that. It's probably the last time that I'll use the PAO system. I'm going to be switching the card system, and I'll have a year to go to a 2-card system. So hopefully that will help next year.
So person, action, object. So he's talking about a memory system in terms of how they go about doing this. What system did you use, Cameron?
Yeah, I think I used a person, action, object type.
You did the PAO. And John, you used that as well? No.
I used to. I upgraded, and only a crazy person will do what I do. But you can Google it. Alex Mullen modeled this, or did like a 2-card system. Every 2 cards, I read, like phonetically, like sounds, kind of like the number of the major system. I read it, that creates an image. So it's like I pre-learned over 1,300 images that are just, I see 2 cards and it's boom, it's there. So it's kind of a crazy way to memorize cards, but I mean, it pays off here.
Alec Mullen was a medical student, and he was using some of these memory systems to get through medical school. So we did this in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I happened to be his judge at the time when we had people doing real time. I watched him take the cards in his hands, and I couldn't even look at the cards as fast as he moved them from one hand to the other. And at that time, he broke the USA record in less than 30 seconds. He's now got a whole deck of cards down in about, what, Karen? He's got this, I don't know how you look at cards in 15 seconds and remember them. But it's the point of training your brain in a way that really helps you to do the things that you never thought were possible. So what we'd like to do is, where's Seth? I need Seth from Lumosity to come on up here with me. And Nelson, it'd be great to have you come up here as well, unless you need to be doing some video, but it'd be wonderful. And Karen, why don't you join us? You always sit in the background here, and you stay back, you do all the work. So Karen does all of the work on this, talking to the mental athletes and putting the events together. And so she's like behind the scenes. But God, last year without her, we were here, and I was a lost soul here trying to keep things going. But it was good to have her back this year. And Seth Gourson is the marketing executive from Lumosity or Lumos Labs. So they help us with the Lumosity games and the qualifying event, along with Memory League, which is our second host sponsor. And of course, all of you, I think you've seen Nelson Dellis enough of times. We need to get a trophy over here. We're calling it Simon now. I guess I found out we need to name our trophy. So Seth, you want to do the presentation, please? We got to give Seth the microphone.
Well, John, very impressive everything that you did up here. It's great to see you winning this another year. I won't tantalize you any longer. This trophy is yours. Congratulations.
Number 3. Nelson, you got anything you want to say about this? He's got number 3 now. You've got 5.
Stop competing, please. Stop.
So I want him to compete. Like, he's one of my best friends. I love him here. I tell him, you need to come. He told me if I win it 4 times, he's coming back. So if I win it again next year, it's going to force him out of retirement.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
They both have. Nikki, could we get you up here for a minute and just give us your perspective of having your husband do memory techniques with the kids and what that's like for you? Would you mind doing that? Giving us just a different. Oh God, don't shoot me, Nikki. But I'd love to get a mom's perspective on all this and what's it like for your spouse to be doing this.
What some of you don't know is in 2018, when John won his first title, they put their life on hold and waited to get married so he could compete in MIT. She is an amazing woman. It doesn't get more supportive than that.
Nikki.
Hi, thanks for putting me on the spot, Tony.
What
So
did
what's
you
it
wanna
like?
get?
What's it like for you to have a husband who's practicing memory techniques and the kids are jumping around him? So what's that like for mom?
I mean, the bedtime routines get a little crazy. They take a little longer, you know, because, yeah, he's like, give me a second, I'm gonna sit on the couch, and the next thing you know, I'm actually kind of adding to it. I don't think he realizes it, that I'm like, Ruthie, turn up the TV. And like, I'm doing things to help make it a little more chaotic. But then we just sit and go through the cards, and I think I get more stressed than he does, because
Really?
he likes to take his time, and I'm like, just say it, just say it.
Oh, wow.
But he pulls through in the end and does it well.
So, Nikki, as you were saying, were you worrying about Cameron over here or Jason? What was going through your mind as you were watching this go?
Well, of course I'm worried. Like, we were talking on the way here that I'm more nervous than he is. He's like, I
Oh,
got
wow.
this, we're good. I'm like,
Okay.
okay, you say that. And then, yeah, first event, Cameron walks in. I'm like, you said you got this, so prove it. But the competition today has been just the best I've seen. I know I haven't been to all of these, but you guys all did astoundingly well and added to my nerves.
Wow, congratulations. So Cameron, great to have you here. Jason, a pleasure always to have you be a part of it. As I always say, getting people to compete in the memory championship has got to be the hardest thing that I do in this whole event. Planning it and organizing it, but getting the people to put their brain on display and being willing to have an audience to sit here and stare at you is not the easiest thing in the world. So you've won in what I call the game of life. You've taken something in your life that 99 out of 100 people will not do, and you've done it. So congratulations for being here as part of the competition. And if we may, Seth, I want to let you close this out for us and tell us where our mental athletes and their guests may be going. Lumosity. Corbett. Where's Corbett? I got our director here that puts all this together with the students. I'd be remiss if I didn't let Corbett come on up here and give us a perspective from the college. So Corbett.
It's Corbett and his amazing crew.
These kids that are got here at the program in the school. Corbett, can you please come up here and give us your thoughts? What is it like for the kids in the school and for you to be a part of this event?
Thanks, Tony. This is our third year doing this, second year on campus. Our production, our goals get higher every year, and we exceed them every year. It's the conversations we're always amazed by the ability of all the mental athletes here. It's typically a new group of students each year who participate, and it's really mind-blowing how it all comes together. And it's amazing how our students come together too. They're young people, they're ambitious, they're hardworking. The level of teamwork and dedication is amazing. We have close to 30 students here today in all disciplines, like audio, lighting, video. A lot of them are actually punching above their weight class. They should not be this advanced. They're not as far in the program as some in the past, but they're really overachieving in the best way possible. And we're very grateful for that. And I'm glad I'm glad the world gets to see this. I'm glad the internet is out there so everyone can see all the great work our students are doing. Thank you, and congratulations.
I always like to close. Can I get at least a couple of my audience members to get to the microphone and talk about what was it like for you to watch this? So can I get at least a couple of brave souls to come up to the microphone by Karen and give us your thoughts of what's it been like for you to sit there and watch the event? I want to at least get 3 of you, so please, somebody volunteer and just say, what was it like watching this? All right, Karen, just go pick 3 people. That's all we'll do here. Come on, let's get a couple of people up. What was it like to watch this? The gentleman in the front row sitting next to some. Please, you've been around all day. It's your son that's been a part. What was it like watching your son compete? There's a microphone right in the front there for us.
No, it's great. It's great to come here every year. This is our 3rd year that Samay's competing, and I've seen the way the events come together has been really getting better and better. So it's fantastic, and I love to see that people keep on coming back and competing, and it's kind of everything requires persistence. It's a good lesson.
Thank you, thank you. I put Tina Dottino on the spot. Tina, you take some of these things and you teach these to kids in school. So you take some of these mnemonics and bring them to kids in 3rd, 4th, 5th grades. So Tina, your thoughts on watching this and being with us?
I didn't write a lesson plan for this.
Just your thoughts.
I don't have a lesson plan, so not on the spot. I'm not
Okay.
good on this.
Okay, got it. Okay, with that,
Wait just a minute. Would you like to meet David, Cameron's father?
yeah, let's go.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with what his wife, the winner's wife, was saying. Watching this is actually more stressful than I think competing in it, to be honest. But it was amazing what everyone was able to do today, and the pace of the cards at the end was insane. So I've watched him practice, and I can't do it. So it's amazing. So anyway, congratulations to everybody.
All right. With that, everyone have it.
Only one more?
One last, and we're going to wrap it up.
Hi. I actually, I've always been interested in, fascinated with memory. But the coolest thing is, I did this years ago. There was a guy named Justin Trudeau that came out with a system. And back in 94, 93, I used this to get through college, and it worked to get through college. And then memorizing PI sheets. If you know anything about PI sheets are documents that come with medications. I used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. I memorized 3 PI sheets, almost the entire sheets, and it works. So to come up here and watch everybody do this and actually put it into play and see this is pretty fascinating.
Thank you. Karen, are we good now? I want to thank everybody for coming. It's always great to have people watch this. This will be on YouTube tomorrow, so if I can only ask any of you social media experts to try not to post anything today. If you could just wait till tomorrow, then our home audience can watch this on YouTube tomorrow. So with that, Nelson's got some work to do tonight in editing this, and this will be out tomorrow, and you'll pick up the 3 speakers that we did not have today as part of what that is. Have a great weekend. For those of you that are visiting from Florida, you know we've got Disney and Universal and SeaWorld and whatever else goes on here. Have a wonderful and safe weekend.